G'day everyone. Welcome to Stu's Corner. This is my 10-minute rant on life in clinic, and today I'm bringing you a bit of a case study, and it's really about the point of let's be vigilant in our physical assessment. And I had a case study which is a perfect example of that this week. A 68-year-old woman came in to see me. She was referred by actually another client of mine, and she came in for some right shoulder pain. And she did have some imaging. She'd have an ultrasound done on the right shoulder, which actually had shown that she had a partial thickness tear. But the imaging also said that partial thickness tear was probably an old partial thickness tear and had healed. She had some tendinopathy sort of type changes to her super attachment and a little bit of fluid around the long head of biceps, which is something I see on imaging a lot. But when I was actually going through her range of movement was actually not too bad. It wasn't provocative in anything. A couple of special tests, Hawkins-Kennedy, some impingement tests, nothing really showed up. And then obviously palpating around the cuff itself, which is what I do. I spent a lot of time trying to find those hot spots. There was tenderness. There was tenderness there. There was nothing really that was jumping out at me saying, oh my God, this is a really fiery shoulder or rotator cuff issue. So obviously, hence then I'm like, okay, well, where's this pain coming from? Because she's saying, look, this is a really, really sore shoulder. So I'm deducing, okay, well, let's rule out the neck, and and lo and behold, going through just some palpation, the lateral flexors and the scalenes group was obviously really, really quite hot, referring into scap area, a little bit to the front of the chest, and obviously definitely down into a shoulder. Getting her to do some rotation into that side was also quite provocative. She didn't enjoy doing that, obviously lateral flexing to that side as well. So there was no doubt that she was some sensitivity in that shoulder. And from my point of view, I was thinking, right, okay, I think this is more of a neck issue referring to the shoulder, which is, shouldn't be rocket science to anyone. But the unfortunate situation with this lady was she'd been to a whole range of different practitioners for whatever reason, have just specifically looked at her shoulder and treated her shoulder without or little no change whatsoever. So got on the table, obviously did some really light mobs, soft tissue work through those lateral flexors, opened up a little bit of the back of the trap, a little bit of the larger scap. No massive rocket science, honestly. It was really quite blunt. Spent probably a good 20 minutes just working through some of that really sensitivity tissue. The great thing was that we were referring, she was getting a reproduction of her shoulder pain, and it was quite intense and so forth. So anyway, treated her, off she went. Obviously her range was better, there was no doubt about that. It was less provocative. Came back obviously, the end of the week and said, oh my God, I don't know what you did, but obviously there's been a massive change. My shoulder pain has really dropped away. Obviously I'm able to sleep comfortably at night, and this was another thing she said, and I'm able to actually sort of look over my shoulder better while I'm backing the car out, which was something that she'd obviously started to lose that ability to do over a period of time, which wasn't obviously picked up on that subjective assessment. So no rocket science there, and I'm not amazing pushing what I do, but what I'm trying to stipulate here is that assessment is such a bit of a key here, and the fact that this lady was actually really quite frustrated with the fact that no one had actually looked at her neck, and she was asking the answers. Well, I've been to half a dozen practitioners, and no one has looked at my neck and even thought that was related to my shoulder pain. So let's just be diligent. Sometimes it's just a bit of, okay, let's be thorough on our palpation and see what's going on in these areas. If there's really shoulder pain there, then you probably find that there's going to be some really hot, irritable sites. But, if you're not getting that, and you're not, if your gut feeling is like, I don't really know if this is a shoulder issue, let's move on and look at the next place that we'll probably refer to, and obviously that's going to be the neck, and that certainly was the case for me. So she's in next week. We'll do another series of treatments, and I'm sure that she'll start to get a real reduction, and she'll be able to get off some of those pain meds that she's been on as well, which is really good for her. Anyway guys, thank you for listening. I'll be back next week, I'm sure, with something more to rant about, but anyway, remember, be awesome at what you do. Ciao.